hearing for the work session for next week's council meeting. Actually, sorry, we don't have a quorum yet. We will wait a few minutes. Just kidding. But I do appreciate everybody being here. Sorry, John.
Hello. How are you? I do well. How about yourself?
We got an issue that had Chris send the chip. I wanted us to get your initial response on it. We get a complaint about a 300-pound pig in somebody's house, and when it goes outside, it threatens the neighbors.
The pig does?
Pig does. So go by and look at it, and sure enough, there is a grossly overgrown pot-bellied pig that's living in the house, but seems friendly. We send them the notice. They send us documents from the VA. It is a certified motion support.
We've had a big time pig lived inside. It's an okay thing?
So that pretty much trump our ordinance, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless the thing attacks somebody. We don't have anything for an attacking pig. I'm not trying to make it try. But no, we've had it where my answer before was if it can live in the house, it's domesticated. But they're saying it's threatening. Has he got a fence or something?
All right, we will go ahead and get started in our work session for next week's council meeting. We will have certificates of appreciation next week for the tree crew. We'll start tonight with agenda-related comments. Mr. Faruqi has signed in. Mr. Faruqi.
I'm sorry, I just wrote down the certificates of appreciation that wasn't on the agenda. Okay, now let me find my notes here. There we go. Okay, a couple concerns. First off, I want to welcome everybody to Lent. And Lent is not all about resisting something. It's or resisting something bad. It's also about choosing something good or better. So that's an option for all of us. And in terms of something better, as we take a look at how these bids are being done, the question of the day for me at least is, why is it that we only have 1 or 2 bidders on these contracts? Cleaners, we have only 2 bidders. There's at least 4 in the city. And I looked up T&V. I could not find that on Google. Where is that?
I'm not sure. TNB.
Yeah, that's the name of the company that was the competitor for whoever won this thing. Four Seasons, I guess, is going to win it.
I don't know TNB. The 4 you mentioned are all part of Four Seasons, though.
Well, I didn't mention all 4,
You
but
said 4 in the city.
at least 4. So there's probably more than 4.
There's actually not, but
Okay, so you've looked into that?
I'm pretty confident I can double check if you would like to.
Okay, because it's interesting that the competitor is listed at over 400% more than the straw man Four Seasons.
Likely because they're out of town, but I don't know.
They're out of town?
I don't know what TNB is. That's what I just told you.
Well, no, you said they were all T&V. Okay, the second one is the tow services. There's a one sole bidder for that. And there's at least 7 of those in the city.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So why would we only have 1 bidder for something like that?
Those are the only ones that bid.
Well, can we not ask more people, or
I'm fairly certain they asked all of them.
are you?
We said
How many, Jeremy, do you want to,
How do you send them out?
how many? 50 towing companies received the bid opportunities.
Well, I'm just curious because, and that's in Trinity, the one who won the award or is going to win the award, the sole bidder. So if we have, what's their response time for the other parts of the city from Trinity?
I don't believe there's any response time requirements.
Well, should there be? If DPD,
They don't respond in a certain
oh, there are response
period of
times.
time, they typically dispatch another. Chief Carlisle, if officers call for tow service and the tow truck doesn't respond in a certain period of time, the officers typically call for another tow service.
Could you repeat the question, sir?
Why would you have not asked that question before right now, Mayor? Because this is obviously,
There's a,
Confirming.
if there's a tow truck that is,
Confirming for you.
doesn't,
Oh, okay.
can't respond when you guys call for a tow wreck or something, what, go to the next one on the list, yeah.
They can either choose who they want, or we go by rotation.
But if the rotation provider, well, rotation's rotation. Okay, totally different.
They can't come for whatever reason, combination.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
so why are we contracting with one company then?
I don't know.
So, okay, there's some issues there. Either I can say I would appreciate to have more than one tow truck company available for call, because if it's a major incident, we ought to have multiple services coming to fix it.
I don't think we have any issues where there's a wreck and we don't get something towed, so.
Well, then the question to the chief would be, so where are the majority of incidents in the city, and why don't we find one that's closer that could respond to them faster?
We just need to get the car towed.
Okay. Fight as construction manager for 25042. Who else had an open bid for that?
That was not bid. Do you want to speak to that, Mayor, or we can wait till the agenda item either way?
Okay, yeah, we'll wait till the agenda item.
Okay.
So no one's going to respond to,
No, that'll be explained when we get to the agenda item.
okay, so why am I wasting my time up here, guys?
Good question.
That's real, appreciate that. Okay, so the answer might be, could there be some cost savings with another bidder? Would the business manager
benefit from this contract?
No.
And are you going to abstain to that?
Yes.
Okay. The jaw crusher, I guess we're going to get a briefing on it. And again, the details that are in the agenda item doesn't provide any of us any detail. So if you would have provided that information, I wouldn't have to be up here to begin with. But the rock crusher, $500,000, and is this already budget approved?
I believe is it not budgeted? It's out of the landfill fund. Yeah.
Okay, so that's another slush fund that can be used to buy stuff that,
Only for it's literally revenue generated by the landfill, but we did just hit 4 minutes, so we'll move into the agenda.
okay.
Approval of monthly bills is the first item. Approve February 2025 monthly bills. Any questions? Approval of minutes, February 19th, 2025, 10:30 a.m. Special called work session, February 25th, 2025, 3 p.m. Special called council work session. I believe those were both the interviews.
Yes.
March 3rd, 2025, 5 p.m. council work session, and March 3rd, 2025, 6 p.m. council meeting. Any questions? All right, public hearings, resolution 25019, approved demolition of the old car wash located at 2612 Old Moulton Road Southwest. Public hearing was set February 17th, 2025.
Yes, we asked this one be taken off. The property owner has abated this building. It's a clean slate now.
Good. All right, any questions? Thanks. Resolution 25038, approved purchase of Keystrike V3H jaw crusher for landfill. And we have, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, go ahead.
Sean McGarry, close enough, is here with Crusher Works to help us, but go ahead, Wanda.
Good evening, Wanda Tyler, Landfill and Recycling. So we're here because one of the most phone calls I've gotten over the past 9 months have been from contractors and companies that are doing a lot of work in Morgan County. And they want to bring one of three things, well, or all of three things, which is soil, vegetative debris, and also concrete. And burying concrete is just not an option. I mean, if we want to keep our sales viable. So one of the things, and that's why we're here tonight, to talk about me crushing the concrete. Huntsville has a wonderful program, which I've gone to visit, and this is something I know we should do also. Okay, so we did a little research, met with Thompson Tractor and Stone Equipment, and also Crusher Works. And Crusher Works was the lowest of the three, which is, as he just mentioned, was $498,640. But I want you to meet Sean, and we're going to talk briefly about what Crusher Works offers the city.
Thanks, Wanda. Sean?
Hi folks, nice to meet you. Yes, I'm Sean McGarry with Crusher Works. We are one of the biggest machine carrying heavy duty contractors and dealers here for crushing, screening and recycling equipment. We represent 5 brands, 5 of the world's leading brands in recycling, landfills and aggregate stuff. Edge Innovate is one of the customers or the companies we represent. It's based for volume reduction in landfills, so slow speed shredders, grinders, mulchers. Rammer Hammer, we also a lot of attachments for excavators, so demolition work, cutters, hammers, etc. Bruce Engineering, our sand manufacturing company that we represent. Sandvik is a Keystrike-like company as well. Rogers Group and the like use a lot of these machines. And Keystrike is the one today that I'm here to introduce. So in brief, the Keystrike jaw crusher. Now Keystrike are very open with all of their information, so online, YouTube, everything's there. But the reason that we pushed forward the Keystrike version over the Sandvik version, it is a very, very easy maintenance machine. It's a non-stop system, so that means because you guys will be doing a lot of demolition work, if large bits of rebar or metal or a digger bucket goes into it, this machine will open up in 3 stages, allowing for that there bit of metal to pass through, so it doesn't ruin the machine. So any new operators will have a lot easier time operating this. Again, all the information on the machine is available online, but a few basics are the hopper feed, 5 cubic yards, Again, the non-stop system, so easy maintenance. And the main thing about the Keystrack stuff is that it's a very, very, very low fuel consumption machine. So it's 5.3 gallons an hour, and that's because of the load-sensitive hydraulic system. Again, easy function. It's a 10-function remote, so the machine can be turned on from inside the excavator, can be tracked from inside the excavator, and everything can be operated from inside. So when it comes to health and safety, the man operating it doesn't have to get in, get out, so it really, really, really lowers them risks. It also includes an overband magnet as well, so any metal or rebar, etc., that is contained in the concrete is easily pulled from it. That should be a video of it operating. Whether it works or not is no. Again, all on YouTube, Keystrack B3, but it shows a lot of the sites pulling the metal from the concrete and then crushing it into material that can be used on the landfill for the roads, for the bases, etc. And it will save you guys buying in a hefty amount of concrete, because I know the prices are going up. When it comes to parts, again, it's not just the machine that we're delivering, it's the service and the maintenance of Crusher Works. Keystrack themselves have a large warehouse in Texas where they keep the majority of their stock. That's some of the photos there, but us, Crusher Works, we have an office and warehouse in Bessemer, in Atlanta, and a recent one down in Pensacola, and we're actively looking for one in Tennessee. So we keep a range of parts all there. When it comes to service, we have 6 service travelling mechanics full-time. We have 6 of them large-duty service trucks, all crane operated. And we have 3 brand new service trucks in, so we're actively hiring as well. So parts-wise, maintenance-wise, and care-wise, we're well equipped to look after the Keystrack, especially with a new demonstration like yourselves.
Thanks, Sean. Any questions? Wanda, how do we charge a customer that's going to want to bring concrete? I'm just curious on that.
Because concrete is reducible and reusable, and I hope to kill that line item for rock. That's the whole point of this. It's $26 instead of $30 a ton. It'd be $26 a ton.
So it's less.
It's less.
So we're going to use it, and we're not going to sell it.
Oh no, we're using it.
We're going to use it.
Oh yeah.
We have enough use. I mean.
Oh definitely. Like
I've gotten multiple requests. I mean, the roads are all.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about that
Yeah.
a few times.
And you were just there. How were the roads?
I was there last week.
Yeah.
It was dry, luckily. But,
Yeah.
So
But-
you could use this. I wonder.
the $100,000 that we spend on rock, I won't have to spend that. I mean,
You think
I don't
you'll
know if you
reduce it?
passed by Jack's recently, and the reason, I mean, they can't get anyone to to accept all that concrete. I need all that, and all of the construction we're about to do is going to be valuable for us.
Is there anyone around that does this? Do you know?
Huntsville.
Just Huntsville?
Huntsville, yeah, that's the closest, yeah.
Do they
Landfill.
work with you, Sean?
Yeah, so they have 2 of our machines in there. They are a little bit more on the larger scale, so they have the Sandvik machines that I briefly showed. But yeah, we work along with Jess and with Michael, and they have our Sandvik jaw crusher and also a screener as well. And same thing, they have a lot of demolition coming in, and they're just at the moment using it for their roads and for their base. So
Yeah, they're a much bigger operation.
they're big, yeah.
So we're essentially going to get paid twice on this.
I'm sorry.
We're essentially going to get paid twice on this.
Oh, yeah,
The
definitely.
fees coming in and then
Yeah.
the savings.
Yeah,
Reuse
the
of
savings of the rock, yeah.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate the.
And
Thank you.
one more question. The 498 that we're looking for, the 498,
Yes.
any kind of time frame as far as, I mean, when do we see that thing? Are we directing? We're not earmarking this to go directly to that or anything. We're just, I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out what the timetable is going to be as far as, paying this thing out or.
Oh, it's
Was it in?
direct. I mean, we pay.
Adjustment
Yeah.
next week after the vote, if it's voted for, and then she'll be able to process PO for the payment.
Okay, never mind.
And just want to clarify, this is paid for out of the landfill fund, which
Yeah.
is your revenue is what creates that fund. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
No, go on.
no, never mind, you're good.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Wanda.
Resolution 25039 approves surplus of vehicles no longer needed by environmental services.
Jeremy Sherrill, procurement.
Yeah, this is a list of 5 trucks that are no longer used by that department, and this is a resolution to surplus those.
All right, any questions? Resolution 25040, award bid 25011 to Branham's Wrecker for towing services for DPD, being the one respondent.
Yes, this is a renewal of an annual contract. We invited directly. Now, there's a few things we do. I know the question was asked earlier about how we solicit bids. In an ideal world, we're always going to have multiple bidders. That's what we would love. There's instances where we have 0, and there's instances where we have 1. This one in particular, we mailed out individually, which we do anytime a solicitation is let. We will mail from our vendor list that we've accumulated over time. They will get a mailed invitation physically. We also post it at City Hall. We also post it on our website. We also have a link from the website to a third-party area that we encourage people to go subscribe to. And that way, when a bid is solicited that fits your criteria, the service you provide or the product you provide, you'll automatically be notified that bid is being let. So that being the case, we know that 50 vendors were invited, and Branham's was the lone respondent. However, they have held this contract since 2019. Also, their price did not increase from 2022 until this year, so the pricing being the same, having a good history with them, we are recommending that we approve them.
All right,
Yeah, just a question. Now, we have a call-out list that the police department uses, right? So I'm sort of confused by this.
This is, I understand this is more when they involve Decatur police vehicles and not just a general accident. I think if there's a general accident on the roads, I think the police department will offer, my insurance may call for a certain vendor. I may prefer a certain vendor that will come out and tow my vehicle, but when it includes a police vehicle, this is what this bid is specified for.
Okay, so that clarifies what I'm asking. So if there's a patrol car that's in a wreck, this wrecker service will be used. But if
there's
a citizen just has a wreck out there and the police call somebody, then it's the call list.
Correct.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Okay, I was confused by that. Okay.
All right, any other questions? Thanks, Jeremy. We got more. Resolution 25041, award bid 25012 to Four Seasons Cleaners for dry cleaning, laundry services, being the lowest responsible bidder.
Yes, sir. Another annual contract. We did have 2 vendors submit responses, and Four Seasons, who's held this since 2022, we're recommending as also the lowest responsible bidder.
Any questions? Resolution 25042, authorize the mayor to sign agreement with Fight Building Company for construction management services for the Sportsplex.
Evening, Council. Kyle DeMeester, Finance. In the process of determining our construction management service, we, Jeremy Sherrill, the procurement agent, Dane Shaw, the economic development director, myself, interviewed 6 firms, inquiring on each firm's ability as a construction manager, the qualifications of their staff, and experiences with their approach to managing projects such as our Sportsplex. We issued a request for proposal from all 6 firms and received a reply from 4 of them. After thorough review of each proposal as a group, we had further consideration with Mayor Bowling and City Attorney Herman Marks, and it was determined that Fight Building Company was the most responsible proposer for our Sportsplex project. I would also like to remind you all that these steps were not subject to our typical bid process or bid laws, being this is a professional service. We felt as a city, and having seen the benefits of our current construction management services, that it would be strategic to ensure we include these services in future projects the city embarks on. And going through this process, we're better positioned to initiate these services with the best possible firm. With this resolution, we're recommending Fight Building Company to provide construction management for the remainder of our Sportsplex project.
Just for one project?
Yes, sir.
Sportsplex. All right, any questions? Kyle, resolution 25043, approved vacation request 77324 for Old House LLC.
Tommy Williams, Planning Department. I hope y'all are doing well. And the applicant is requesting to vacate 0.79 acres of a drainage easement, and this went before the Planning Commission January 21st.
Do you know what it's
I don't know the exact reasoning, but those are the drainage easement. Once it's vacated, it would go to those 4 lots that it's affects.
Okay. All right, any questions?
Tommy, we're reserving 8 feet of that, are we not, to keep for?
Yes, sir. We are reserving the 8 feet. Thank you.
Is that for just 8 feet, an 8-foot easement?
Yes, for utilities and drainage and all that.
Okay. Any questions? Thanks, Tommy. All right, that is it for the agenda. Anything else? Yes. All right. We'll move into public comments. First person on the list was Byron Eccles.
Hey guys, thank you for allowing me. And I want to just mention the word perspective. Each of us have a different perspective on things. For quite a while, I've had a perspective mainly on safety of people and wanting to make sure nothing happens that would injure people. And some of that drives my comments. Also, I have a very religious background, I guess you could say, and that does too. So I just wanted to start off by just saying that from 2008 until now, I've been receiving information from God. And the information leads me to believe one of the chants that was done here in the protest says, "You can't stop the revolution." And I honestly believe that with all my heart. It will not be stopped. I believe the United States is in trouble. And I believe that Jesus Christ is the only hope for me and those that choose to have that style of religion. And I honestly think it's prophecy from a biblical perspective. And different people within the chamber or different people within the city have differing views, but we each may be seeing things accomplished a little differently. I informed the mayor. I sent you a video quite a while, but 2003, I know you're busy, you probably don't remember it, but it was called Bullying Alabama Style, something along that line.
You sent it in 2003 or it was from 2003?
May of 2003, May the 8th of 2003.
I was 8 years old, but...
Oh, I'm sorry. 2023, I'm sorry. I'm 20 years off, my bad, man. I'm sorry. But I also sent it to Senator Orr. And in there, I included a small phrase that the Lord had shown me Decatur is going to have gunfire throughout the city. And I would hope that the city was ready for it. And I've even seen soldiers being flown from Redstone to here, into Decatur. Now, I don't know exactly when that may start. I don't know what may happen. I don't know any of those details. But I do want people to know that there are people that genuinely care. And there are people who have been specifically designated to provide warnings and also to ensure people have the opportunity to make sure they are spiritually prepared for the revolution that is coming to the United States. And honestly, to be very honest, I can tell you that from my perspective and from what I've seen from the Lord, Obama's coming back for a 3rd term. A lot of the actions that we see are consistent with biblical stories such as Jezebel, having people orate or orators to overtake things. So I wanted to get that out there and just make sure people can at least have the opportunity to hear that perspective. So thank you.
Mr. Eccles. Next is Christy Love. I don't see Christy. Oh, I see Christy. I'm sorry. Usually sit about right here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
First, just a quick reply to what was up here.
Just let's be careful about it.
I won't go back and forth, but I'm just saying Job's friends said they heard from God, but they were absolutely wrong in what they heard. But let me go on. Good evening. I stand before you today to address a crucial need in our community, the need for culturally responsive professional development within the Decatur Police Department. As public servants, officers are often called to serve and protect individuals from diverse backgrounds, many of whom they may be unfamiliar with. It is essential that they receive training from experts who can help bridge these gaps, ensuring that every resident is treated with dignity, respect, and understanding. We recently saw an example of how training from the right experts can make all the difference. The Decatur Police Department partnered with the Alabama Institute of the Deaf and Blind to improve officers' ability to interact with individuals with special needs. They recognize that effective policing requires specialized knowledge, and they sought out those with lived experience and professional expertise to guide them. Additionally, they hired a mental health liaison to provide insight into handling situations involving mental health crises. These were proactive, commendable steps that should be applied to cultural competency training also. If we recognize the need for expert guidance in handling interactions with those who have disabilities, we must also acknowledge the importance of expert training in engaging with culturally diverse communities. It is not enough to rely on personal assumptions or limited exposure. Officers must be equipped with the tools to navigate the complexities of race, ethnicity, language, and cultural norms. They must understand historical and systemic factors that contribute to distrust, and they must learn strategies to foster genuine relationships with the people they serve. Just as they went to the Alabama Institute of the Deaf and Blind for specialized training, they should turn to experts in cultural responsiveness, scholars, community leaders, and professionals who understand the nuances of serving historically marginalized populations. This isn't about criticism, it's about growth. It's about ensuring that our officers are prepared to de-escalate tensions in culturally unfamiliar communities as they are to communicate with someone who is deaf or blind. When law enforcement officers are well trained in cultural responsiveness, the entire community benefits. Trust is built, safety is enhanced, and ultimately we move closer to a city where everyone, regardless of background, feels seen, heard, and respected. Let's continue moving in the right direction. Let's invest in expert-led, time spent in the communities, culturally responsive training for the Decatur Police Department, because better training leads to better policing, and better policing leads to a stronger, more united community. Thank you. Justice for Steve Perkins.
So I found it interesting that on our agenda items, our police department, if they need assistance from a tow company, that's what we recently took bids on. It said that there was only one bidder for that. And I think it's something that only one tow company in the area wants to work with our police department. Our mayor made it very clear in his statements that Todd Pinion's resignation, that his pay would remain the same in his retirement. After a council meeting last week, Carlton McMasters said it was contrary to what we said, that the chief did take a pay cut when he moved from chief to captain last Monday. I have emailed our HR team, and of course they have not contacted me back. Can we clarify with everyone's knowledge what Captain Pinion's pay is? Not even a number, but can we have clarification with certainty? Is he receiving the same pay rate he was on Sunday as on Monday?
I was told, Herman, that pay was moved to captain's pay. Is that correct?
Correct, but is the number different?
Ask your question. I just want to make sure I'm answering it.
Mm-hmm. My number is, on Sunday, Chief Pinion was paid us $5. On Monday, was he still paid $5 or was he $4?
He is being paid less than he was.
He is receiving less pay?
Yes.
Okay, because the mayor said he would receive the exact same rate.
What I get, the answer I gave you was also that captain.
It was very confusing by this council member, yes. So, lastly, we have 3 city employees. 3 from 3 separate departments, fire, police, and a city office. All have had accusations come out against them. All were said not to be doing their job in roles of leadership. I will not mention their names. 2 white Decatur City employees are allowed to change their positions and sit and wait till resignation, as we have seen many white Decatur officers do in the last year. Take note, though, that the only city employee that I know was not allowed to do that in this good old boy system is the one standalone black man still being treated unfairly by our city. We still need independent reviews of all our city departments. Justice for Steve Perkins and justice for Kevin Jackson.
Good evening. Decatur Police Department have a duty to prevent, maintain law and order, and protect human rights. Yet all too often they misuse their powers. The Decatur police officers are quick to use unlawful force and detention to suppress peaceful protests. These actions are sometimes fueled by anger, racism, and other forms of discrimination. At its worst, unlawful use of force by police can result in people being deprived of their right to life. Despite the gravity of human rights violations, the officers who perpetrate these abuses are rarely held accountable. Decatur police officers must attempt to use nonviolent means first, negotiate, and then warning. When they need to resort to force, they should use the least harmful means to be effective. Human rights violation by Decatur police could happen to anyone. All allegations of human rights violation by the police must be investigated, and those officers suspected to be responsible must be brought to justice. Accountability is essential to ensure human rights are not violated. Sometimes there is no investigation. This creates exemption in which police can commit such acts without any consequences. Evildoers and workers of iniquity soon will be cut down like the grass. To the Perkins, Kennedy family, SIP, and protesters, delight yourself in the Lord, and he shall give you desires of your heart. The wicked plots against the justice, because the wicked knows his days is coming. The Lord loves justice and does not forsake his saints. The wicked knows that God is our strength in the time of trouble. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. Yes, they are forming, but God deals with our enemies. Yes, God is in the midst. If God is for us, that is more than the whole world against us. Justice for Steve.
All right. So it seems that the interim chief had plenty of times on his hands over the past week. He actually did more interviews last week than Todd has done since September 29th of 2023. Yet, at the time of the interview, he claims that he hadn't taken the time to review Green's report. In one of those many interviews, he spent about 30 minutes focusing on the people who spoke at last council meeting. However, he categorized us as protesters. So I want to let him know tonight that we are more than just protesters. We are doctors, educators, college graduates, business owners, entrepreneurs, advocates for social justice and justice, but most importantly, we are citizens of this city of Decatur. The fact of the matter is that we make sacrifices daily. Unlike those who sit at home behind a computer screen passing judgment, we actually show up. Week after week after week, we come to these council meetings using our voice, bringing awareness to the corruption and wrongdoings done by the so-called leaders of this city. Behind the scenes, we're doing our research and our due diligence to make sure that we hold the people who have done wrong accountable. While speaking with WAFF News, he lied and stated that at the last council meeting, he was called a murderer, a rapist, and a thief by protesters. However, after rewatching the council meeting, none of those things were said. We want an honest, transparent chief, one who is aware of what is needed to run a trustworthy department, not one who is going to allow the same culture to remain. He said it himself that the majority of the current command staff was once under his leadership. That speaks volumes, and not in a positive way. So one of the things that was discussed, we're going to say, suppose that Natus did leave Alabama A&M in good standing, then are you all able to have him sign for his personnel files to be released? Because if he left on the good terms that he states, that shouldn't be a hard task, right? Justice for Steve.
Okay, the newly amended complaint in the federal civil lawsuit against the city of Decatur places significant focus on the department's stats system, alleging that it encouraged officers to use excessive force. The lawsuit claims that on the night of September 29, 2023, Decatur officers actively chose to engage in the incident involving Steve Perkins to increase their stats, seeking potential rewards and promotions. The updated wrongful death lawsuit further alleges that the Decatur Police Department fostered and rewarded aggressive policing through this system. According to the complaint, stats are used to determine officers' pay, promotions, and assignments. However, instead of them promoting de-escalation, the lawsuit argues that the system incentivized officers to escalate encounters with civilians. Attorneys representing the Perkins estate state their investigation uncovered evidence that the stats system played a significant role in the events leading to Steve Perkins' death. Attorney Lambert emphasized the impact of this system, stating, "There is a system in place that puts officers in a position where they were incentivized, where they were driven to try and do more, to try and create adverse situations." Have any of you ever heard of this system?
Not other than what was reported in the newspaper.
Would you all be able to find out?
Mr. President, we're in litigation. We will respond to that.
This is
Our
a
attorneys
civil
will
suit.
respond to that. Whether y'all know or don't know, that's a good question, but it's in litigation. We'll let our attorneys answer
The civil
that.
suit has not.
I don't know anything about stats. I can ask if that's a program. But
And I just wanted to know if you all can find out who created the policy or system.
I'll ask about that.
Okay. In addition, Tab brings Natus into a troubled police department that is currently under a permanent gag order. He only has less than 30 days to do his job before a new chief is hired. And instead of doing his job, he gets on television to talk about us little old protesters for 30 whole minutes, and he didn't state one thing he has changed or done in the police department since taking this position as chief. He is still saying in week 2 he has some ideas. The mascot doesn't know how to do his job properly. The mayor still again failed and hired an interim, still running his mouth and not doing his job. He states, "I get along with all of the Perkins family, but not any of the Perkins family associated with the protesters." Well, there's only one Perkins family member currently associated with the protester, and that's Katrilla Perkins. Since day one, she's been a force in action to get justice for her husband, Steve Perkins. How dare you, Natus, try to demean her position and ours as if being a protester carries a negative connotation. Let me remind all of you that protests have been the leading force behind every major social change in history, from the civil rights movement to the fight for labor rights, women's suffrage, and beyond. Protest is the voice of the unheard, the tools of the oppressed, and the demand for justice within when an institution fails us. I'm almost done. We wear that title with pride because it means we are all doing exactly what history has taught us to do. Refuse to be silent in the face of wrongdoing. And let's be clear, justice for Steve Perkins isn't just about one family alone. They have the support of the community and the city. Steve Perkins has and will continue to change the future of this city. You do not get to separate us into what's acceptable and unacceptable based on who makes you comfortable. We are all well-educated, experienced in our advocacy work, and resourceful. And we can go toe-to-toe with the best of them, and don't ever forget that.
Since I did see Dr. Love, Mike Stovall is not here, correct? Alvin Mosley is not here. Okay. Mike Faruqi.
So on behalf of Alvin and Mike, he's still here.
If you're going to do that, you're going to have to back up a little bit.
Okay. First issue for me is waste, fraud, and abuse. And we've talked about that ad nauseum, why we do not have a policy, a simple policy for the city of Decatur and civilian employees to don't do something stupid with your vehicle or money or resources you're responsible to. I still don't understand why we can't do that.
We do have policies against waste, fraud, and abuse.
No one can show me one.
Well, I know we do because when we go through our audit that we pass every year, we are asked about waste, fraud, and abuse. There are policies within each department about waste, fraud, and abuse, but.
Okay. I haven't seen them.
It is an executive branch role.
Right.
But there are policies.
Well, when non-executive asks the question, freedom of information, I get nothing back.
I'm not going to go print. I can probably find you a few examples of.
I would love to see something that says we're not just willy-nilly.
There are policies against that.
Okay. In that line of thought, I brought up the issue of why we were paying $250 for Mr. Pinion's FBI Alumni Association, or Chiefs of Police Alumni Association. That was a month ago. He's no longer the police chief. We've paid that $250. And then we find out in today's checks that $14,000 went for Tab Bowling's top 10 mayoral membership.
That's right.
What do we get out of that?
Big Ten mayors. It's basically a lobbying effort and kind of best practices between the Big Ten mayors to pass along ideas. They do lobby in Montgomery, probably not so much in DC, but just to help municipalities is really what that's about.
Do we feel like we have been helped by that membership?
I think there's been some things they've done. Anna's Law was one that they championed, which was a good bill.
I'm talking about the city of Ye All Decatur.
Yeah, that to me, that Anna's Law is a good thing for the city of Decatur. So, yes.
Okay, what?
Yes.
Okay, so one person, $14,000 membership that the city routinely pays for.
It's not, the city is a.
So what knowledge, skills, and abilities have been improved with our mayor over the last 8 years from that membership?
I have to ask him, but there has been good things that group has done.
Okay, I would offer maybe asking the question of why we are spending that amount of money and what services we're getting back from that, because if you're saying that's worth it, God help you.
There are other city employees that attend those things that would tell you that they gain things from interacting with their counterparts.
Who?
Like our CFO would be.
Okay, and yeah, the CFO got that. And I really do appreciate his candor in terms of whether or not he thinks I should be up here or not earlier in this discussion. I thought that was quite unprofessional, by the way.
I think a lot of things, but I keep them to myself.
Hunter Pepper spoke briefly regarding leadership for the city and processes within the city. That was the nucleus of a quote in our minutes. Did you all read the minutes from the last council meeting?
List.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you're going to have to tell me the quote again.
The quote was, Hunter Pepper spoke briefly regarding leadership for the city and processes within the city. Now, I could have sworn he was talking about Tab resigning and he was talking about no longer supporting Mr. Pinion. But that's not in here. That's the entire quote from. Is that adequate?
He talked about leadership and processes. So.
Do you accept that as adequate?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's supposed to be a legal document when it's done that the city can then use for further evaluation of itself. That, in my opinion, is extremely inadequate when all the other news organizations went on full report on how he had done this huge sea change in his attitude.
I wish that no one would report on anything he says, but I don't get my way, so.
Okay, well, I don't think I think all of you deserve to have your time and space, just like I feel I should have my time and space, reflecting accurately what I say. So I would appreciate.
It's all reported on the.
It's not accurately portrayed in the minutes.
We can't do it verbatim. We've looked at.
You can, actually.
We shouldn't.
But you can, and you're deciding not to, Jacob. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, anything else from you guys? We are adjourned.